Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of Clone Evolution, Lelanders. No, we're going to be covering some wild topics tonight. I had some really crazy dreams last night, so I figure I'll share those on the show. We got some updates about my video game shelf. A lot of the viewers post in the Discord, they like seeing what games I collect, so I'll finish posting some more pictures tonight of different games that I added to the shelf. I'll just download the image right now, see if it's posted yet. Now, if anyone's wondering, yes, I do have VR. Some people mentioned in the chat, they're like, whoa, Leland has VR. And I got a story about how I got that as well. Can imagine I didn't pay full price. Now, has anyone ever shopped at Best Buy on their online store? Like, you know, you can get deals online. Well, the one time I was shopping online and I managed to find a misprint on their website. So what it was is they posted this wild VR sale that I think the price was like, I don't know, like $200 less than it was supposed to be posted for. So as soon as I seen that, I'm like, oh my god, they made a mistake. They posted the VR for way less than they were supposed to. So I ended up buying 4 of them. And what the bundle came with, it came with Doom, it came with the VR set, and was that all it came with? Oh yeah, and it also came with, I think, the motion camera. I'm trying to remember. But anyways, they posted all that for $200 new. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. And this is when VR first came out. Yes, what I did is I bought 4 of them. I gave one away as a gift. And I sold one. Still haven't got the money for it. And what did I do with the... Oh yeah, I sold 2 actually. So what I did is I sold the VR for double what I paid twice. And basically got VR for free for all the work of buying it and reselling it. I know some people are against reselling, but man, that's just how you roll when you're broke, right? And you kind of got to try to get by on what you got. Shouldn't say I'm broke, but I'm always trying to save money. So I got some news in Clone Evolution as well. I don't know if anyone else had the shit show luck, but I was really busy and I couldn't finish the Abyss. So one of my keys only got used halfway and then the event ended. So that was kind of a waste of a key. I don't know, I was just so busy with Oktoberfest, work, and my uncle, haven't really had any time to do anything. No, I've been trying to nap more because I haven't been sleeping well. It's weird. It's like, what are we, almost at the end of September? And my body chemistry has still not adjusted from the weed. I'm still getting crazy vivid dreams all night to the point where I can't even sleep. I'm like, fuck, man. From the second I go to sleep to the second I wake up, I just have intense, vivid dreams. And that's where the show title comes in today. Rarely do I ever dream about UFOs. I don't think I've ever dreamed about a UFO. So yeah, this was the first time I dreamt about UFOs that I can recall, at least in a while. And boy, was it ever a weird dream. And it was so weird that I was like, holy, when I woke up, all I did was think about it. I was like, holy shit, what a weird dream. Not to give away all my secrets, but normally my dreams are pretty straightforward. I get the occasional reoccurring dream about different horrible world events that are coming, like being forced to take these. Started dreaming that in 2001. And the other thing I usually dream about is making out with hot babes. So yeah, my dreams are pretty one-dimensional. So yeah, oh yeah, and the other dream I always have is that I'm always flying. I'm like, hey guys, check this out. I learned how to fly. Like, just like getting my body to float in the air. So I don't know why I have that dream all the time, but it's such a weird dream too. I'm always like, my friends are like, man, you can fly? And I'm like, yeah, isn't this amazing? It's like I always have that dream for some reason. I don't know if anyone else has had a dream where they can fly. It's kind of a weird dream to have. Oh yeah, cheers. Poured a beer for Oktoberfest, because man, my time for drinking at Oktoberfest is quickly coming to an end. I only got, what, 4 nights left to drink, so I better enjoy it. You better. No, welcome back to the show, everyone. Some people are tuning in. We did get some people that commented in the Discord, so we'll definitely give some updates on that. I'll try to open this picture without showing any boobs on the screen. Let's hope. Oh fuck, of course, it goes right to the main image. Thank God it wasn't boobs. Alright, so if anyone wants to see my game shelf, you can see that I have a PS3 and PS4 collection at the top, because they're my more recent games. We got a little bit of a collection of, 6 Wii games. These ones here are PC games. This shelf here is Xbox 360 games. You can see I have a shitload of Call of Duty, Battlefield. Can't even make out the rest there. Halo's in there. Then we got some random 360 games, stuff like Tony Hawk, sports games, a few others, BioShock. I put Halo 3 down here because when my roommate bought the game, it was actually an empty case. Luckily, she only paid 50 cents. Hey Augusto, how's it going? So if people are wondering how I afford all these games, most of them are all from like yard sales and stuff, and a lot of them are from when I owned them as a kid. Like this Risk game for Genesis, I've had that since I was a kid. The Intellivision stuff, I literally had that since I was like, I don't know, 5 years old or something. So I've had this game for ages. I don't even have the cartridge anymore, sadly, but somehow the box and some of the cards got kept in storage. I got some Entropia stuff. Sorry it's a bit blurry when I zoom in. That's what she said. Now I got some Nintendo DS stuff, a couple Genesis cartridges, my Battlefield 2 game. Only have one copy. I think someone stole my second copy, sadly. I know I used to hang out with people that would rob me all the time. I haven't actually hung out with them in a while. I kind of forgave them for robbing me, but we got into more fights later on in life, so I don't really hang out with them. Could be for the best. Although I don't really mind when people rob me. I know in some cases people are kleptomaniacs and they really can't control what they steal. So you just gotta be careful you don't leave them alone with anything. Oh yeah, I got my Akira. This is my Akira copy from the VHS tape. And this was the first anime I ever saw. And I watched it in like 1986 or 7. And I rented it from Jumbo Video. And then eventually, as time went on, one of my friends went to Jumbo Video and bought their going out of business sale. And bought the copy of our Akira. And then he traded it to me for some other stuff. Sadly, he's since passed. And that was one of the topics that came up on Facebook today. Facebook did an article talking about what happens when your body dies, and sometimes your body will like twitch and move. So that's how I was thinking explains it, because when I went to my buddy's funeral that I traded this VHS tape for, I was like, oh, I'm gonna touch his hand one last time to say goodbye in the casket. And when I touched him, it's like he moved a lot. And like a lot of people in the audience or like around the casket, shouldn't say audience, but for a funeral, they were like looking at me like weird, like why the hell did his body move? And I was like, I don't know. Well, I guess I found out that bodies can still move even after they're dead, which is really weird, right? But no, so that's my gaming shelf, sort of ended on such a somber note. But yeah, oh yeah, and the prices. People are wondering the prices. I basically got the VR for free because of that mistake on Best Buy. I got the stand from, what do you call it? Amazon deals. You know, I have Amazon basic deals. They sold me the stand for like $10 or something. So it was like a really cheap VR stand. I love the thing. It even has chargers for the old PlayStation remotes. What are they called? Motion controllers. Not kinetic, whatever it's called. The PlayStation Move, that's it. So yeah, I can put them in, but the only problem is it makes all these LEDs light up, and I don't like LEDs using power for no reason, even if it is just small amounts of power, because our electricity in our province got destroyed in value. We had some politician come in, she did like $1 billion gas plant scandal, and it skyrocketed our prices in hydro for like 10 generations. So we pay more for hydro than like every other province combined. I'd like to blame the leftists, but I don't know. Leftists, I don't know. These days they do some... She was actually better than our conservative leader. Now that our next conservative leader took over, he wasted even more money and didn't give us anything back. At least she gave us some construction projects, so we did get something of the liberals, even though they wasted shitloads of money. That's the thing with conservatives. Piss me off. Sure, you're going to save money, but if you don't give any of it to us, then what the fuck's the point of saving it? So anyways, let's get back to Clone Evolution. Hope everyone likes the shelf. I'll share the picture. Yeah, it's actually 2 shelves now. Last picture was just 1. Oh yeah, and the top shelf is the other game that I stream for, Entropia. And yeah, and I've got some the old DVD that I got from Never Die at a convention. I got the security card and this card reader. So yeah, I've got quite the cool Entropia collection going as well. I was thinking maybe I'll get some Entropia posters or something in the future. Oh yeah, and some of these other controllers. There's the Ouya. I've still got my Ouya. I don't have it hooked up right now, but I might hook it up in the near future. It's been a while since I played Ouya. So I tried some of these games to see if they worked, and yeah, they were okay. Oh yeah, and almost every game on here was like 50 cents or less. So that's why I should be able to afford to mail them out as prizes for the show. If anyone wants to do show prizes, we're going to try to get it up to 10 likes. And if we get 10 likes, I'll do a draw with everyone's name on that wheel that I usually do for Super Chats. So then whatever it lands on, that person will win their choice of one of the games on my shelf. And I'll have to be within reason, because I do have a few games on here that are worth like $100, so I don't really want to give away those ones yet. Maybe as my show gets more popular. We'll probably start off with some of the low-end ones, like maybe some PC, some Wii, some Xbox 360. And who knows, maybe we'll even work our way up to giving away PS4 games. Oh, there's the Doom game that I got with the VR. Oh, I also got some Blu-rays. The movie Knowing is on here. Can't make it out, but I bought that Blu-ray, never watched it, but it's actually my favorite movie. I'll have to watch it again. Haven't watched it in years. Could be some clues I haven't seen in a while. Alright, so let's get back to Clone Evolution. No, I got some bad news in Clone Evolution. I didn't finish the Abyss, and I fucked up and didn't finish the Bounty Hunter missions one day. So we're definitely a little bit behind than normal. Normally I'm like, when I have no life, I just play Clone Evolution religiously, so now that I'm starting to like talk to more girls about dating and yeah, and getting back to work and looking after my uncle, it's really getting hard to make time for Clone Evolution. Well, that's probably a good thing, right? Like, the main reason I was playing Clone Evolution so religiously is because those lockdowns took away like everything I could do. So I was literally just stuck at home with nothing to do, so Clone Evolution saved me through that point. So I thank everyone for tuning in and watching the show and getting me through the dark times of the lockdown. Alright, so what are we going to do first today? Let's go with... yeah, let's clean up the airship. Yeah, so does everyone want to hear the UFO dream? Man, was that ever a fucked up dream. And it wasn't like very accurate about anything that can happen in real life, so it's not like one of those dreams that would predict the future. I don't think we're going to see UFOs anytime soon. No, so what happened is it was winter time, and me and my friends were waiting at a bus stop, like way out by the university. So we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. And then all of a sudden this weird like police helicopter, which has happened to me in real life before, starts like following us and like shining a spotlight on us. So I was like, what the fuck, right? Like, why the hell is this police helicopter or black unmarked helicopter following us around and shining this fucking spotlight on us? So what we did is we actually laid down in the snow and tried to like hide to make it look like we weren't waiting there for the bus. Now I'll get on to the other time I seen a black helicopter. Oh, sorry, I got Facebook open. Now I've been talking to a few women on Facebook lately, so sorry if it beeps a lot. Now ever since I got back into like trying to meet new women and dating, it's like, man, my Facebook profile is just like filled with messages. It's getting impossible to keep up with them. No, I haven't had really time to meet anyone, so if any of the ladies are listening to the show and wondering why I keep ditching them, it's not for other women yet. I'm still just looking after my uncle. No, I know a lot of ladies, they're always upset. They're like, oh, you never meet us. It's like, are you not making time for us? It's like, are you dating other girls? And I'm like, I'm trying to date other girls, but I can't even get one dated because my life is still so awkwardly full with shit to do. So, whoa, 41 robots. That's a shitload. Alright, so yeah, as we're hiding in the snow, the police helicopter, or black unmarked helicopter, comes flying over us again. And this time, instead of like looking like a helicopter, it sort of like morphs into the sky and starts to look like a UFO. And then instead of the searchlight shining down on us, it hit us with like this beam. It was like another beam, but not a searchlight. And you can guess what happened when the beam hit us. It freaking teleported us, like right out of Star Trek, into another room. Like we were outdoors waiting for the bus. All of a sudden this UFO shines this like light on us. And bam, we're up on like this other location. I couldn't tell if it was in a ship or what it was because it was a pretty big room. And what the room turned out to be is actually one of the places I used to work in was like a locker room for like a big golf course. Had to clean it, clean the washrooms, man the door, make sure no one robbed the place. So all of a sudden it like teleported us into this weird locker room. And then I was like looking around like, what fucking kind of locker room are we in, right? This is a really weird building. And then I looked around and it was filled with like Men in Black agents. And they're like putting on like their suits and stuff, getting ready to go out and do these weird calls for Men in Black shit. I was like, dear God, man, like how the hell did we get in this weird room? Yeah, and then that's about, the dream did continue a little bit, but I don't really remember the rest. All I remember is I recognized one of the Men in Black agents. So I was like, what the fuck, man? This was a weird fucking dream. Yeah, I woke up and I was like, whoa, that was weird. And that's kind of nice because usually I've been actually getting a little bit more nightmares than usual. So at least that wasn't really a nightmare. I didn't find it scary at all. Even though it sounds kind of freaky, but... Hey, I think we can actually beat the #1 team here. Jinx. Let's try it. Alright, so they got a lot of power for shielding. Let's see if we can wipe their ass. I mean, kick it. Now, if anyone wants to hear other weird black helicopter stories I had, it was a weird one. It was actually about this time of year when it happened. So there's like this big river that runs through our city, well, on the edge of the city, sort of like halfway to where the country begins and where the city starts. So this guy that I knew for a few years, he comes over to my house one night in the middle of the night. He's like, hey man, I want you to take me out on an adventure outside looking for the weird shit that you've seen before. I was like, what, man? He's like, yeah, we'll look out for like we'll check for plants to see if we can harvest any plants that are growing around the river. Because sometimes people back in those days would just plant pot plants near the edge of the river. So I'm like, alright, we'll go look for some pot plants, but I can't guarantee we're going to see any weird stuff, right? Go figure, I shouldn't have said that. So yeah, we get on our bikes and we bike way out of town, right to like the edge of town. And we lock up our bikes in like some stranger's backyard. And then we go and sneak through the backyard and go into a trail that goes down to the river. So we're walking along this trail, walking along the trail. I don't know if I've told this story on the show before. Alright, we got one victory. Yeah, so we're walking along the trail, and all of a sudden it comes to some farmer's fields, which was weird because I was like, I didn't think there was any farmer's fields along the side of the river. So I was like, okay, I guess we were on the wrong trail. We got to get even on the other side of this field to get closer to the river so that we're not walking on a private property trail. So what we do, you know how fields, if you go in a farmer's field, there's usually crops in the middle, and then there's like a brush on the side of it, so that like you can either walk on the plants or walk in the brush. So we're like, hey, we'll just walk on the edge of his field and walk along the edge until we get to the river. So we're walking down, and we're just joking, laughing, having a good time at this point. Then everything went wrong. All of a sudden that black unmarked helicopter with the spotlight from my dream was actually following us in real life. So what happened was the helicopter starts swooping around the farmer's field and taking his spotlight and shining it right on us as we're like walking through the farmer's field. So we're like, oh no, I even got too far ahead. Sorry, there was even weird shit happened before that. All right, victory number 2. So I'll backtrack a little bit. As we're walking along the edge of the farmer's field, we start hearing noises coming from inside the bush. You know, like when you're walking on the edge of a bush on the farmer's field, you can't really see deep into it because it's dark, nighttime, no lights out in the middle of a field, right? So we start hearing noises like people walking. And I'm like, oh fuck man, we're walking on some farmer's private property. We better be careful, right? So what we did is we sort of went on the closer into the woods to like go like this to see who we could hear in the forest. And guess who we could hear walking around the forest? Fucking military troops. And there's no military bases anywhere near my city. So like hearing troops with like gear and guns and everything, we're like, what the fuck, right? Like, why the hell is there like military troops out in the middle of the fucking farmer's field next to a river, right? Like in the middle of the night, like midnight or something, right? So we were kind of freaked out at that point. We're like, holy fuck, man, we really got to go back to the bikes and like get the fuck away before like these troops come out of the woods and get us. So just as we're about to like leave to go back, that's when the fucking helicopter flies over the fucking tree line. Boom, searchlight right on us. So we're like, oh fuck, right? Like I didn't really panic because I've been in a lot of crazy weird situations with like light beings and everything. So I was like, my heart really didn't race too much. I'm like, oh, it's just normal, well, not normal stuff, but at least it's not paranormal attacking us. It still looks like nuts and bolts craft. Nothing that fuck. Oh, 96. Maybe we can beat it. But my friend, like he had never taken part in any weird paranormal like investigation stuff before. So his heart was just like fucking racing and he went into full-blown panic mode. So I was like, holy fuck, man, I gotta try to help this guy. Like he's having a nervous breakdown. So let's see. Let's try it that. Is that who they think? Yeah, let's try it. So what happens to him, I'm like, man, like come with me and like hide in the bushes, right? So that the spotlight won't be directly on us. And he couldn't. He like collapsed under the ground and he's like shaking and stuff. I'm like, dear God, man, pull yourself together, right? We gotta go hide. So what happened is once that started happening, like he's like convulsing on the ground, I look over into the woods where we heard the military, and the military noise from the troops is getting louder and louder and louder. Like they're coming in our direction towards the helicopter. I was like, holy fuck, man, buddy, you gotta get up, man. Like their troops are coming, the fucking helicopter's here, and I'm like, at one point, I was actually like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'd almost rather take my chances with the helicopter than whatever was in that woods. Like, we don't know what kind of troops these were, if they're like gang member troops or military. We could just hear like tactical radios and like people going, we're supposed to move in this direction, go this, and they're like giving codes out about not speaking like normal language, but using like military lingo and shit. So we're like, holy fuck, I'm like, maybe we should really just go into the middle of the field and take our chances with the helicopter and then hope that the troops don't get us. So just as the helicopter was like coming lower and lower and lower in the field, it was like so low I could take a rock and just underhand throw it and hit it. That's how low it was. And then all of a sudden something even weirder happened. Here's where it really gets fucked. All of a sudden, as the helicopter starts trying to get lower and lower, this giant net comes out of nowhere. What I mean by a net, it looked like it wasn't like made out of cloth or something, but it was almost like a force field net. Like lightning going around in all these directions and a big patch of it, and it just started coming down and down and down. I was like, oh my god, like what the fuck is that shit, right? And the helicopter did not react good to it. Like, I don't know if the helicopter thought it was lightning or what it was, but it all of a sudden like started swaying and shit, trying to avoid getting hit by this net. I was like, oh, okay, whatever the fuck's going on now, it's just gone over the fucking hill, batshit crazy. And still my buddy's on the ground, like just twitching and shit. I'm like, what do I do? Like run away and just leave him here? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay and see what happens, because I didn't want to ditch him. So what happened is the net kept going down, the helicopter kept trying to maneuver not to get hit by the net, And all of a sudden the net started to raise up higher and higher instead of coming down and down and down. And as soon as it did, the helicopter used that chance and flew away. So I was like, oh, thank God, the helicopter's gone, but the net's still there, right? So when the net was gone and the helicopter was gone, all of a sudden my buddy on the ground, he started to come to. Like the panic started to wear off. So I'm like, buddy, get up, man. It's like the net's gone, the helicopter's gone. Let's get the fucking hell out of here, right? So we could still hear the troops coming, which I was worried was going to freak him out, but he still got up. And I just grabbed him by the shoulder. I'm like, man, let's go. And we ran back to our bikes. So yeah, once we got to the bikes, we ran so quick that we made a whole bunch of noise, like rustling through the woods. And when we started unlocking our bikes, the guy that lived in the house that we like locked our bikes in his backyard, he starts seeing us and he looks out of his room window. He's like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing in my backyard? And then I yelled back to him like, sorry man, we got lost on the river and we're just trying to find our way back to town. I'm like, do you know which way we can go to get back to town? He's like, I don't believe you. Get the hell off my property, right? So I'm like, okay, at least he's not like coming out to like attack us or something. So I'm like, we got our bikes and we just took off. And the funniest part is when we started biking back into town, we could still see the net from the road. So it was like that net was still like, it raised up, but it was still there. So I wish we had cell phone cameras and stuff. God, that would have made a hell of a video. This was like back in like the early 90s when like cell phone cameras weren't really that popular. Or I guess it would be the mid 90s. It's probably a teenager around 15 or 16 or something. So yeah, we actually biked all the way back to town, and on the edge of town, we went on the bridge, and you could look over the river, and the net was still there. And then to this day, we never really figured out what that net was. He actually came back like a few months later. He's like, man, sorry about freaking out that night. I didn't anticipate all that shit going down. And he's like, did you ever figure out what that net was? And I was like, no, man. I tried looking up the net. Closest I could think of was maybe ball lightning or maybe like the northern lights or something. But then I looked up the northern lights and it wasn't the color of lightning. Usually that shit's like green and stuff, right? So, and that's actually not the only time I've seen that helicopter. If anyone wants to hear 2 more of the helicopter stories, I've got a couple more. The funniest was actually my younger brother was involved in 2 of the helicopter stories. One, he came just after it happened and wouldn't believe it. Yeah, so actually back when I was a kid, I can't remember what happened, but I had to move back home. Or no, I was still living at home. Yeah, this is when I was right about 20 years old. I had a job working at Sears. Actually, this was just a couple nights before the September 11th attacks. So what happened is me and my brother, I can't remember what happened, but for some reason we had to share a room. And it was just temporary, like a few nights where he was on one side of the room with his own bed. I had my own side of the room with my own bed too. Nothing weird. Not that bad of sharing rooms. So what happened is I had to get up in the middle of the night to take a leak. So I get up, take a leak at like 2 in the morning. And I look out the back window into our backyard and I see some fucking like helicopter just like doing circles around our fucking backyard. So I'm like, what the fuck? Why is there a helicopter like flying around in our backyard? But I had to work the next day and it was like 2 in the morning. So I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm not going to stay up and watch this helicopter. I'm just going back to bed. So I try to get back into bed and go to sleep, but the helicopter just keeps getting louder and louder and louder, right? So all of a sudden when the helicopter starts getting like really loud, my other brother wakes up and he's like, man, what the fuck is that noise, right? And I'm like, well, it's this helicopter that's flying around in the backyard. He's like, what the fuck? A helicopter flying around in the backyard at 2 in the morning? He's like, who is it? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like some black unmarked helicopter. He's like, I don't believe you, right? So I open up the windows like to the street, like where the house is on the other side of the backyard, our room is. So we were facing the road and not the backyard on this side. So I'm like, oh, we can't even see the helicopter. It's in the backyard. Hey, Mohammed, how's it going, man? So as I'm joking, well, not joking, I'm like, man, the helicopter's in the backyard. You can look out the window and see that it's not there. So guess what happens? Fucking helicopter hovers down like right in front of our room window and then takes its searchlight and just shines it right in our bedroom. So it's like, ah, couldn't see. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, right? Like, why is there a helicopter shining a searchlight in our fucking bedroom, right? My brother's like, oh my god, it's so bright, because he was just sleeping. Yeah, we couldn't tell what kind of helicopter it was. It was just black unmarked. And then after it did that, it hovered there for like a minute, shining the light in our window. I'm thinking, dear God, can you imagine what the neighbors must have been thinking? Like, here we're in the middle of the city, and there's a fucking helicopter hovering like right low with houses, fucking shining a light in people's rooms. I don't know if any of my other neighbors seen it, because it was like 2 in the morning, but it was fucking loud as hell. So I was like, they must have woke up. So then my brother, after the fucking helicopter just peels off like a minute later, he's like, never wake me up for helicopters again. And then he just goes back to bed. I was like, okay, I didn't even wake you up. It was the fucking helicopter that did. Man, we never really figured out what the fuck was the deal with these helicopters. Why we got these weird black unmarked helicopters flying around doing weird shit. And it was odd that I dreamt about one of them last night. So I was like, I don't know if some weird shit's coming in the near future. Yeah. Oh yeah, what was that? That was 2 of the helicopter stories. Or no, that's 3. The other black unmarked helicopter story is, it was funny. My buddy Frank, he was over and we were watching UFO videos like the whole afternoon, smoking weed, back when it was legal. No, I was the only one smoking weed because I had doctor's permission. I swear he wasn't smoking it. Anyways, we're getting wasted watching UFO stuff on TV. Yeah, we defeated him. We got the reward. So we watched UFO videos for, I don't know, a good 5-6 hours. Or no, it couldn't have been that long, like 2-3 hours. And then all of a sudden his mom called that he was going to get picked up. So we're like, oh fuck, we got to turn off these UFO shows, go outside in front of the house and wait for his mom to pick him up. So that she doesn't have to knock on the door, or be nice enough to wait outside. So as we're waiting outside, I sort of glance at the horizon. I'm like, what the fuck is that bouncing around on the horizon? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look over there. So he looks over there, and it was weird. When I asked him what he saw and what I saw, it was 2 different stories. So I was like, why were we both looking at the same object and getting different ideas of what we were seeing? But anyways, what I saw was like this shield. It looked like a circle, and it was just floating around in the sky like it was on a string. Sort of like someone had a string, like a puppet string, and they're just dangling it around in the sky. Really erratically, right? Like, not like a UFO that would fly somewhat like uniform. This was like all over the fucking sky. And people want to know how big it was? It looked about half the size of the moon. So it was like, you know how a full moon gets pretty big? So it's like roughly half that size. And it was gray. And it really stood out. I was like, what the fuck is this thing doing? Why is it bouncing around like that? And then like he's looking at it and he's like describing it differently. But I'm like, okay, whatever. This is what I see. This is what you see. But I don't know why our stories aren't aligning. So anyways, as we're like memorized, like watching this thing like dangle around in the sky, it actually looks like the Nuremberg UFOs. If anyone wants to look up UFOs from like Wikipedia, type in Nuremberg UFOs, look just like those. So anyways, as we're watching it, all of a sudden that black helicopter comes out of nowhere again. And what does it do? It starts like chasing that thing dangling in the sky. So the helicopter and that thing like chased each other in the sky in front of our house. And this is like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So it was still daylight out. And yeah, all of a sudden like the black helicopter chased it away. And then the helicopter flew by us so close that we could see it was black and it was unmarked. So we're like, what the fuck? And then like 2 seconds after the helicopter like goes over the trees and is gone, my brother comes around the corner. He's like, what are you guys looking at? And we're like, there's this weird helicopters back again. I was telling him the one that we had seen before. He's like, yeah, right, it wasn't back. And then my friend's like still in awe of what he just saw. And he's like, why are you arguing with us? We just saw it, right? It was so funny. The only thing I could think of is that that thing was dangling around where the hospital was. So I don't know if it had something to do with the hospital and that's why it was like floating above it. Like I literally just live like, I don't know, 2 or 3 blocks from the hospital. It's like a 2-minute walk. It's probably a good thing knowing me. So I don't know, like I look at all the different announcements with the moon coming up and how we're going back to the moon soon. People made fun of pandemics and said pandemics would never happen in our lifetimes, and they did. So I'm starting to wonder, people always mock and make fun of UFO stuff and say that it'll never happen in our lifetimes. I'm starting to wonder if that's going to happen too. I can't guarantee anything, but that dream last night really made me weirded out. Even more than normal. Even more than usual. No, I have had like Men in Black encounters before as well. Back when I first started to like get into like calling paranormal TV shows or radio shows live on the air and telling them about the different stories I had. This fucking one show I was calling in, or actually I was just emailing the guy in Instant Messenger, giving him some information about UFO encounters I had. And all of a sudden, he like cuts off his radio broadcast, ended the chat with me. They closed the chat, never responded again until I called him years later. And he totally forgot about the situation, so I don't know. That was a weird thing too. I used to talk to him every night for years. He stopped talking to me after this, and then all of a sudden, like when I got back a hold of him years later, I never even brought it up because I figured he didn't want to talk about it anymore. All right, we got another pumpkin one. Ooh, and these ones. All right, finally some good rewards. Yeah, so anyways, I give the radio show some like pictures of some of the different UFO stuff that I was researching at the time. Actually, just photos I took in my backyard. All of a sudden he cuts off the conversation, closes the window, like deletes my contact, and then he starts talking on the radio all freaked out. He's like, hey, whoever's listening to this, just remember, if you share stuff with the show and you get into trouble with the government or the Men in Black and that sort of stuff, he's like, there's no way I can help you. So I'm like, whoa, why did he all of a sudden like get freaked out and then start saying this stuff on the radio? So right after he says that, like literally like just seconds after he said that, all of a sudden the Men in Black car pulls up right in front of my house. Like literally within like 2 seconds. So that's what really freaked me out, was like, how did he warn me the Men in Black were coming and then they show up like 2 seconds later? Like, shouldn't they take at least like 5 minutes to drive from wherever they're coming from? So that really freaked me out. And people wonder like, how the hell did I know it was the Men in Black car? Well, my street is a really busy street and you're only allowed to park on one side of the street, because if you park on both sides, it blocks all the traffic and no one can get past. So there's big signs everywhere saying, for God's sakes, do not park on both sides. So my house is the side that you're not allowed to park on. So they really stood out as like parking right in front of my house because they're blocking the whole fucking road, right? And when I looked at the car, it was like a 1950s like old classic car, and it was just all black, but it was souped out, like pimped out, with like a giant computer on the dashboard. And I couldn't tell what kind of computer. I was thinking it was like a cop computer or something. So that really freaked me out. I'm like, why is this like mint condition 50s car like parked in front of my house right after I got warned about the Men in Black, and it's just all painted black? So I was like, what the fuck? That was really weird. And how I reacted to that, like I've had different paranormal encounters before, but that one freaked the shit out of me. Like I literally like ran to my room, just turned off the computer and grabbed my cross from the wall and just started praying in my room. Because I heard that praying can get rid of the Men in Black. So that's what I did, is I just prayed for hours and hours and then went to sleep and didn't even go back to the front of the house to look if they were still there. So I don't know how long they stayed in front of my house. I was in my room praying. I really thought they were actually going to come into the house, but thank God they didn't. Or at least I don't remember if they did. Check for any evidence. Now, if anyone wants to hear one little story that one of my friends had with me at his house, sort of like a Men in Black encounter like that, this one was a really freaky one. Out of all the ones that freaked me out the most, this is probably the one. It's like I go to my friend's house, and what was it? Oh yeah, this was one of the nights that we didn't have any weed and we didn't have any booze. So we're like, fuck, what are we gonna do tonight, right? So we go outside, have a cigarette, and it's like 7 in the evening, and his friends or his parents had gone out for the night. I forget, they went out to a bar or something, so we had the whole house to ourselves. And we had no weed or anything, so we're like, oh shit, we're just gonna sit around, smoke cigarettes, and watch movies on TV. And the funniest part, we had just woke up at 4 p.m. because we were like teenagers, so we're on the night schedule where you like stay up till 4 in the morning and sleep till noon, and then wake up at noon and then stay up till 4 in the morning again. So here it's like 7 in the evening, just like not even like 8 hours since we had woken up, and we turn on the movie and we start watching it, and guess what happens? All of a sudden we wake up and it's the next day. We're like, what the fuck, right? Like, how the hell did we fall asleep at 7 p.m.? And my friend's like, yeah, he's like, this is weird, right? Like, my parents are back and everything. They didn't even wake us up when they came home. We're still just like sitting on the TV, like on the couches. And what happened is, you know when you watch a VHS tape, maybe some of the viewers aren't old enough to remember this, is back when you have like a cassette tape, if you put the movie in and you watch it, if it watched right to the end, it'll stop automatically and rewind. But what happened is we had watched like into 10 minutes into the movie and then just all of a sudden passed out. So we turned on the VCR to see like what had happened. Like did the movie like rewind and stuff? We turn it on and it's still at like the point where someone just came in and turned it off. So we're like, what the fuck? The video had stopped right where we had fallen asleep. It didn't rewind. It didn't do anything. It just stopped. So he was kind of joking. He's like, oh, this is so weird. I wonder why we fell asleep. And what does he do? He's like, man, I got to go to the washroom. And I'm like, yeah, I got to go to the washroom too. We've been asleep since 7. It's like, it's the morning now. It's like, we really should have to take a leak really bad. So he has 2 washrooms in his house. So he uses the one upstairs and I use the one downstairs. And we come back and both of us were like shocked. And he's like, did that happen to you? What happened to me? And I'm like, what? Were your underwear on backwards? And he's like, fucking they were. So it's like whoever fucking broke into the house and like made us pass out, they undressed us and like put our clothes back on, and they purposely put our underwear on backwards. And it's like I wear like the tight underwear, so it's like you could get like a massive wedgie from like wearing it backwards. So I noticed like right away. I was like, what the fuck? And yeah, the same thing happened to him. So we were like, oh my god, like what the fuck happened last night? We never really solved that one. And yeah, and we asked his parents, and his parents said when they got home from the bar that we were just so passed out on the couch that we didn't wake up. So they just like turned off the TV and then went to bed. But they said the VCR was already off. So I was like, wow, that's pretty fun. Or wait, I think they said that everything was off when they got home. They didn't even shut any of it down. Yeah, that's what it was. So we're like, what the fuck? You guys didn't turn off the shit? So how the hell did it all get turned off? So I know that underwear part was like the strangest part of the story. That actually like freaked me out. I was like, dear God, whoever these Men in Black guys are, they got some serious powers, right? They can like just come in, knock you unconscious without even like, I don't know if they use some sort of ray or what it is, but... And then to be able to undress you without even waking up, that was fucked. No, thankfully there was nothing wrong with their butts or poop or anything. Yeah, that was freaking me out too. I'm like, God, did they rape us? But thankfully, no, our butt was still intact. Yeah, so ever since that day, I actually took the Men in Black stuff way more serious. Like, I don't know if it was the military that has that kind of powers, or it's actually the Men in Black, or who knows what, but... Yeah, so my life has definitely had some weird paranormal stuff happen, and that dream last night was like to be continued. It almost felt like. So I don't know, as time goes on and humanity gets back to the moon, are we gonna start seeing some fucked up shit, like everyone seeing it? I don't know. To be honest, I'm a little freaked out by it. Oh, we got the S. That was cool. Now, I try not to freak too much out about it, because thankfully, on all these weird paranormal stuff, I've only almost died of a heart attack 3 times. And as long as you got a strong heart, you should be able to take it. I was actually really paranoid my friend was going to have a heart attack, because when he was on the ground doing those convulsions in the field, I was like, holy shit, man, am I going to have to call an ambulance? We didn't even have cell phones. But no, thankfully, he recovered fine. He didn't have a heart attack. And if anyone's wondering what I mean by heart attack, if you see something really weird and paranormal, that's almost like the first instinctive thing you get. It's like all of a sudden your chest just fucking aches, like you almost feel like you're gonna have a heart attack. So that's why people are like, oh, I wish I could see a UFO, or I wish I could see a ghost. Yeah, you probably don't. Because unless you like heart attacks, you're probably not gonna like it. Or if you're like crazy enough that it doesn't bother you, so you're like, hey, I don't mind seeing stuff that could kill me at any moment. Oh yeah, Alex McQueen's here, and he says he's got a tip for the Abyss next time. Thanks. We'll get back onto some more Clone Evolution stuff. Yeah, what is the tip for it? Make sure that you have more time to finish it. Yeah, that's what I really needed. God, I can't believe I fucking wasted a whole key. Well, half a key. Yeah, if anyone's wondering what happens if you're playing the Abyss and the game is like right about to set over. You know how it's like you can go to the Abyss. I was racing to try to finish the key. So I had the Abyss mission open, and all of a sudden the timer ran out, like it turned 8 o'clock, and it just logged me out of the Abyss. Or actually, no, the Abyss page just went blank, and then I just exited, and it was gone. So I don't know if it's going to come back and it'll be half finished. Oh, for the Spartacus part. Yeah, what's the tip? So I don't know, does anyone know if you finish a key halfway and the Abyss comes back, will I get to finish it? Or that's... I probably didn't finish quick enough that time. See, ladies, it's not always too quick. No, just kidding. Alright. I was thinking I'm so close in DNA that I really want to boost up some DNA. Like, look at this. If we get Freya's DNA all the way up to 30, we're almost at 29. Holy shit, are we ever almost at 29? Then we'll literally just be one DNA level away from adding a Hammer of Life. So I'm definitely going to add Hammer of Life once I get Arena Girl. And look how close we are to Arena Girl. We got 2 fragments already, and she's on the Vibram store. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to spend my Vibram coins on, is I'm going to buy Arena Girl, and we're going to make her gold, and then we'll be able to link her in DNA. And the nice part about that as well is once I have her linked up to level 30, we'll only have one more hero to go to boost him all the way up to 30. And then I'll have my entire base team at level 30. So if any of the viewers know, once I have my entire base team at 30, does that mean I can start linking the DNA for these heroes? That'd be sweet, if that's true. I have a feeling it's not, but let's hope. Oh, if you ever get Little Red Riding Hood, you can solo it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Alice or Little Red... I have never used Little Red Riding Hood, so I don't know how good she is. Oh yeah, use those yellow potions. I was wondering if there was a good time to use the yellow potions. Oh yeah, and I still gotta... We gotta boost them up. Where's the training center? Let's see, can I boost up another team? I don't know, whose team should I boost up? Let's do fire. Or no, we already did fire. We have to pick between water. Yeah, let's do water, because we got 2 heroes for that. Or no, I don't even use water, what the fuck. Let's do lightning. See if we can or not. Yeah, we can boost up lightning. Alright, let's boost up lightning. Holy shit, we got enough to boost it again. Should I really boost up Alice another level? She could probably use it, eh? But I don't know if it'll help that much. Let's go with green again. I know it's a waste, but we're gonna do it anyway. Alright, so yeah, let's boost up some of our levels for green. Green's good because I got 2 heroes here. Yeah, we do. So that'll be helpful. Only stuns will knock her out. Wow. Oh, she can also out-heal all the damage and then use those yellow potions. Alright, we'll have to try that next time. Yeah, I can hardly wait till the Abyss comes back. I hope it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, we won't see it again for like 8 months or something. Who knows if I'll even be playing the game at that point. But yeah, hopefully we see the Abyss again. I can't see myself quitting the game in that amount of time. If anything, what I would do is probably just cut back to a stream a week, but I know I was supposed to get the travel vlogging done, but man, this year's been crazy. I haven't really had any free time this summer. And my boost of energy to get extra stuff done from quitting weed is pretty much already worn off. My chemical imbalance is pretty much stabilized, and now I'm back to having almost no ambition. Just like it was when I used to smoke weed. Or vaporize weed. No, I've been taking good care of my plants this week. I got rid of all the mold on them because of all that fucking rain we had. So I got rid of the mold, and yeah, it looks like the buds they're growing back to normal speed again, not stunted by the cold and rain. And yeah, what I'm probably going to do is like harvest them and put a lot of it in the freezer so that when I do vaporize weed again, it's still fresh. My plan is to like really enjoy Christmas and just take like the Christmas month off. So what I'll do is as soon as my birthday comes, December 2nd, we're getting wrecked. I know I shouldn't because man, it's gonna hit me hard after not doing weed for like 3 months, but oh well, it's just how we roll. Now, so if anyone's wondering, will I ever vaporize on the show again? Yeah, probably in December, or unless I get a really bad back injury. And then that's usually when I start vaporizing again too, because it's one of the only things that can take the edge off severe back pain. Oh yeah. No, that's actually how I got the prescription for weed from my doctor in the first place. I actually got scoliosis in 3 parts of my back. Like, it's actually 3 separate curves, sort of like a fucking Jenga board. Now people are wondering, how the hell do I still do a physical job? I find is if you work out all the time, sure it hurts like hell having scoliosis, but if you fucking work out all the time, it actually stabilizes it enough, for me anyways, that I can still function at a high level. Well, fuck, actually a stronger level than really anyone else I've ever met, but no, I think I've met a couple Olympic athletes that were stronger than me, but and my brother, he used to be stronger than me, but I don't know if he still is. I've seen him get really skinny over the past few years. I'm pretty sure once he gets skinny like that, he loses a lot of his strength. Alright, so if anyone's wondering who I bet on the Hunger Games, I bet Kirakoma. Oh, son of a bitch. Does that say that they've only won 1 of 2? Can you imagine Kirakoma loses right off the bat? That would suck balls. Not in a good way. Hopefully that just means that Kirakoma has 1 of the 3 victories. That'd be good. Yeah, so who did everyone else bet on? Well, we got some more information from Alec McQueen, so let's get some battles rolling and we'll read that information he shared. Alright, let's go into the dungeon. We'll sweep. Sweep that. Yeah, has anyone else ever had like a weird paranormal encounter with black unmarked helicopters? I thought it was just me, but then I started asking a few of my other friends, and I do know another friend that's had them. And he lived out in the country, and that's where his happened. His story is actually better than fucking mine, man. And he was the guy that saw the light beings with me, so when he starts talking about shit like that, I know that he knows what he's talking about. Alright, but first, before we get carried away reading that, let's read these. Yeah, so how was my poop after the Men in Black put her underwear on backwards? Thankfully, it was normal. Right, the Spartacus part. Oh yeah, we already read that. Only stuns will knock her out. She's good because her attack boosts by 25% each attack. And normal attacks heal for 200 plus 14 of the target's max HP. Wow, that's impressive. Alright, so by the end of the second round, she starts healing for 600,000 each attack. Also, for the last round, use all the yellow pots on your highest damage per second clone. And it will one hit kill everyone. Wow. You know, I was actually online today reading on Facebook, and some people were making fun of Suzo, saying that you shouldn't make Suzo because you should use Theodora to make someone else. Who was it, Skady or someone? So some people are making fun of me for making Suzo. But I think that, man, I guess I haven't tried Skady yet. I still like Suzo, and if I had to make him again, I'd almost be tempted to make 2 of him rather than Suzo, or rather than Skady. But I'll go with the viewer's advice and just make Skady once we actually get the next Theodora. Man, she's so fucking rare, right? I really wish I knew she was that rare before. Then I probably would have used her a lot more carefully. You gotta be careful of the women you use, right? Yeah, cheers to Oktoberfest for everyone who's German or celebrating Oktoberfest. I know I actually did some Oktoberfesting this year, and man, was it ever fun. Getting together with some of my friends, we did a big keg tapping. Lots of people that were there were vaccinated, some not, so... But we're all outdoors, no one got sick. It's been like a week later, or a few days, I guess. But yeah, and if anyone's heard from Kaminsky, let us know how he's doing, because I know he was saying that he had the virus, and last time we talked to him, and he hasn't responded back. Hoping it's not just another prank by potato memes. Probably is. Let's hope. Alright, so this is kind of a shit show. We're getting our asses kicked by this guy. But I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to go grab another beer out of the fridge, and we'll let the Vaporizer commercial run for a sec. I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back everyone. Sorry it took so long. I just took a quick puff of a smoke. I know I shouldn't be smoking cigarettes because I get horribly addicted to them when I do. But it's actually been helping calm my nerves while I quit smoking weed. So I've been having like a puff of a cigarette, I don't know, every 3 days. So it's not really that bad of an addiction yet, but I really got to make sure I don't get carried away with it. Because dear God, if I smoke a whole cigarette and start getting addicted to them again, fuck man, I'm screwed. It took me so long to quit smoking cigarettes. The last time I was hooked on them, it took like a year and a half. Luckily, I got so sick from smoking them that I couldn't keep smoking them, so that made it easier to quit. Alright, and I got a beer. And we'll finish my friend's story about the fucking helicopter he saw. Dear God. Now, this is the one that really started to make me wonder that story, if it's true or not. Like, some people say those black unmarked helicopters show up when weird paranormal stuff happens. So yeah, I guess the few other times that I seen them, there was weird paranormal stuff going on. Oh yeah, like in my backyard, there was an orb flying around and then the helicopter. Almost forgot to mention that part. Yeah, some like big glowing orb. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then the helicopter came. No, I've actually heard stories from Argentina before. This one guy that I knew from Argentina while he did a radio show. And yeah, he was talking about how like there was the same thing. This weird UFO was flying around in Argentina and then the black helicopter chased it away. So it makes me wonder, is like, are those black helicopters? Oh, look at how many of the fucking Peaceman we got. 150. So that's good. Oh yeah, and the other thing I started tanking up. Where is it? We're tanking up... Where is she? There she is. So we got 11 to 50. We're trying to boost that up to 50. Oh yeah, I made a mistake. I didn't mention it to the viewers. I accidentally, when I was on here, I clicked the chest by accident. So it used up one of our clone points. But thankfully, the hero they gave us, look who it was. Wasn't a fantastic one, but better than average.
Only in fairy tales does the one you love tell you will
Ah, there he is. They gave us our 3rd Wrestling King. So now I have enough Wrestling Kings. Let's go to it. I gotta pick who I'm gonna make with Wrestling King. So the plan is, I'll show you. The plan with the Wrestling King, where is it? We're gonna make Wind of Fury again, because I miss Wind of Fury really bad. She's like one of my favorite healers, and ever since I consumed her, I've regretted it. So I was thinking, dear God, we got shitloads of copies of this guy. We'll have the Wrestling King, and I'm tanking this girl right now. So we'll collect a whole bunch of her, enough to make another gold one. And we got these two. So yeah, that's what the plan is. We're going to make another Wind of Fury soon, but not very soon. And if anyone else has got an idea of who I should make instead of Wind of Fury with the Wrestling King, who else was there? There's this, or no, that's not that guy. Not him. Yeah, Wrestling King can also turn into that guy. So if anyone thinks I should really make him, but I don't think it's worth it because he uses Rising Moon Warrior. And Rising Moon Warrior is very rare, and you need him for a whole bunch of better clones. So that's why I'm leaning more towards her, because I can use... These are all common, except for this guy. So yeah, if any of the viewers got an idea of who I should use Wrestling King for, just let me know in the chat. Alright, so Alec McQueen is saying that he used 9 yellow pots on Suzo one time. It was like one hit for their entire back line, and his talent skill killed the tanks. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah, so we will try that next time the Abyss comes back. I appreciate the advice. Yeah, you can see Theodora. We've got, what, 2 of her? So once we get a 3rd Theodora, we got 2 arena girls. We've got quite a good variety of women going in the game and real life. No, I'm just kidding. No, I shouldn't joke about the real life women. I really haven't gone on any serious dates. Just talking to a few on the phone and a few on Facebook. Tried to set up dates, but like every time something's fucked it up, so either I have no free time or... Ah, damn, in order to make Theodora gold, we're gonna need another one of these guys. Fuck. And I don't think we have any of him. And he was just in the Vibram store. Or no, he was just in the exchange tickets. Fuck. Too bad we didn't buy him. Oh well, live and learn. Lots of living, not so much learning. Alright, so let's do some more of the expedition battles. We haven't finished these. We'll turn off quick battle so we can watch it play out. Make sure I don't die stupidly on anything that was easy. Alright, one of my best friends, like best black helicopter story. He was at his farm and same thing, his parents went away. I can't remember if they went to another city to visit people. So he's literally at a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere by himself. So what happens is he's going outside like every hour or two to have a cigarette because he smokes cigarettes but he's not allowed to smoke in his house. His parents are allergic to this smoke and they don't want it ruining all of their collectibles in his house. So he had to keep going outside for cigarettes. And normally he goes out and there's nothing weird that happens. So this night, what's strange started to happen is, you know, when you're in a farmhouse out like in the middle of nowhere, you usually have like a light outside in front of your house. So it lights up like a perimeter around your house so that you can see a little bit. Well, he said as he was sitting on the porch having his cigarette, all of a sudden he started to see something moving, like on the edge of where he could see, like just sort of like a figure moving. So he's like, whoa, that's weird. Like, what is it? Like a moose or a fucking deer or some sort of weird animal? So the creature keeps moving and moving just far enough that he can't see what it is. So he doesn't care. He goes back inside and he watches some movies and then he comes back outside again for another smoke break. And then that thing that was moving on the edge of the light started coming closer and closer. So he's starting to get a better look at what it is. And at first he's like, holy shit, it's a fucking wolf, right? Like there's a wolf coming because he could see a wolf head. But then all of a sudden he knew there was something really wrong. Because guess what? The wolf head was dead. He's like, when he looked at it, he's like, oh my god, that's not even a living wolf. It's like half of its eye was hanging out. It's got blood and scars all over its head. And it looks like it's decaying. So he's like, oh my god, right? Like he's thinking about going inside to get his gun. Because he lives on a farm in Canada. They have guns around. So all of a sudden the wolf starts coming closer and closer. And he realizes that it's standing like on its hind legs. So he's like, what the fuck, right? Why is there a dead wolf standing on its hind legs? And then as it gets closer, he sees that it doesn't have a wolf's body for the whole creature. He said half the creature was like half human, and then the top half was a dead wolf. So he freaked completely out, but he had actually seen the light beings with me before, so he didn't go into full panic mode this time. So what he did is he ran inside and got a shotgun, and then came outside, and he's like, where the fuck is this creature, right? He's gonna take a few shots at it. I can't remember if he actually did shoot at it or not, or if the creature just left when he ran in to get his gun. But same thing. All of a sudden the fucking black helicopter's out there. So he's like, what the hell? The wolf creature's gone, and now there's this weird black helicopter flying around on his property. And same thing, it's like it wouldn't obey laws. Like normally in Canada, you can't just land helicopters anywhere. You have specific areas where you're allowed to land. So when it started like coming down, like going to land on his property, he was getting really pissed at the helicopter. He's like, what the fuck? This helicopter's not supposed to be landing in my field. So anyways, the helicopter goes away, wolf creature goes away. So he goes back inside and just starts watching movies again. Like, can you imagine how freaked out you'd be? You just saw like a fucking zombie wolf outside of your fucking farm, and you're out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself. So his encounter didn't end there. What happens was he wakes up the next day and he starts going out on his front porch for a smoke again. And he's like looking around, doesn't see any traces of the zombie wolf. And then all of a sudden the fucking black helicopter starts coming back. So the helicopter keeps flying lower. And you know what pissed him off? He said the helicopter was so low, he could wave to the pilot. Like they could see each other eye to eye. And that you have to be flying really low to actually see the pilot's face and everything, right? So you know what he does? He doesn't run in and get a shotgun this time. He runs in and gets his paintball rifle. And he has a paintball gun that he turns up the what is it, the FPS, or the air pressure, so it shoots way faster than you're normally allowed to shoot people. So yeah, he goes in, gets his paint rifle, and he just fucking starts shooting at the helicopter, and he just caked the front window in paint. So all of a sudden the helicopter flew away and it never came back. So I don't recommend firing paintball guns at helicopters. No, it's probably pretty illegal as well, but yeah, at least he got rid of it and it never came back. And as far as I know, he's never seen the wolf creature again either, so thank God. No, I'd have to ask George, maybe next time he tunes into the show, if he's ever heard of the First Nations legends in the area called like zombie wolves. But like his farm is like near a lot of like, it was really sacred native land, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of connection there. But who knows, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, you see these weird paranormal stuff, keep an eye out for that black helicopter. You wouldn't be surprised how fast it shows up. Who knows if it's the Men in Black flying it or what the fuck, man. Alright, so Alec McQueen is saying he used 9 yellow pots on the Suzo at one time. Oh yeah, that was when he killed everyone. And that was on the 10th round. Oh, that'd be helpful. Yeah, because I've never really beat the 10th round too often. I think I beat it once before, now that I think about it, but yeah, not very often. Yeah, if any viewers got different black helicopter stories that they want to share, I would love to hear more though. I still can't believe how many people, like how many times I've seen it, how many times I've talked to other people and they've seen it. And who knows what it really is. You know what makes me wonder? The whole angels and demons story. Can you imagine like the fallen angels or even regular angels? They are the ones that are taking over the job of the Men in Black. I often wonder that. That's like that movie I have. Let me grab it. God, this cigarette smells awful. That's the one thing that makes it easier for me to quit smoking. Oh, excuse me. I fucking can't stand the smell of cigarettes. God, it's disgusting. But if anyone hasn't seen this movie, it's called Knowing. Different countries call it a different name. But, or yeah, Predictions is what it's called in French. And what this movie has, it's got the light beings that me and my friend saw, and it portrays them as angels. So that like they're Men in Black and they're angels. That's what it makes me wonder. Oh yeah, and if anyone knows the director that made this movie, who is it? I think it's Alex something also. I don't know if it says it on here. Hopefully no one died while I was talking. Alright, we're still alive. Alright, director. Yeah, here it is. Alex Proyas. If anyone's heard of Alex Proyas, he's a really good director who does like paranormal stuff. He also does another movie that I think is very revealing about what's happening on our planet today. Most people think it's ridiculous, but I don't know, it makes me wonder that he made the movie Knowing and he made this movie. What is that other movie called, if anyone's seen it? Not 13th Floor, but Dark City. If anyone hasn't seen Dark City yet, God, man, you're in for a treat. Watch that movie. I won't give away what happens in that movie, because really, that movie is so telling. Like, I know people make fun of the flat earth research, but Dark City shows like a whole element that actually could prove that the earth is flat. I know people are thinking, dear God, that's like fucked, right? But man, watch it, and it's like, holy shit, there is actually a technical way that it could be possible. And I can't even tell you why, because if I did, it would ruin the whole movie. Now, obviously, I don't believe in the flat earth, but I'm like, man, every time I hear like scientific theories about how it could be possible, there are some really weird ones. Now, I'll give you one hint. It's very close to like The Matrix. If anyone hasn't seen the Matrix movies, that sort of is like the clue of how it could be. The whole simulation idea. Yeah, should do research on how to exorcise demons getting out of your home. That's actually one of my specialties. Other than finishing quick. This amulet here, it's kind of like demonic in a way, but what it does is it's supposed to keep other demons away, so it'll be like the dominant demon. So that's kind of fucked. I'm actually thinking about giving some of those away to show viewers as well. I got a whole bunch of really high quality copies of the amulet made. from a lab in Toronto. Yeah, you will never believe what happened to the lab in Toronto. I went to Toronto, like our country's best 3D printing lab, like in the whole country, and I paid some ridiculous amount, like $2,000, to get like one of the highest resolution scans you can possibly get at the time, and for them to make me some copies of the amulet. And it was funny because like I didn't even tell them that it was like a haunted amulet or that it was an antique. Or no, I think I told them that it was an antique that was in my family, but I didn't tell them that it was related to Anubis. I just sort of left it out there. Someone figured it out on their own. That was their own accord. I didn't tell them it was cursed, and I didn't tell them it had anything to do with demons. But what they did is they did some analysis on it, and they found out that the amulet is made out of like a stainless steel, and it's like 100 years older than the invention of stainless steel. So the only steel close to that is like Damascus steel used in Syria a long time ago. And yeah, so apparently it was like the Phoenicians that came from that land of Syria who brought the amulet all the way to North America, and that's how my family got it. So I thought that was really weird that the lab determined that that's the metal it was made out of. And that was the other thing, when I went to pick up the amulet, and I asked the guy, did like anything weird happen with the amulet? And he's like, no, everything's fine. But he's like, a lot of people had questions about it. They're like, what's with this amulet? Why are you so into it? A lot of people are like freaked out about it, like wanting to know the history. But I didn't give them any details. I'm like, guys, I can't really fill in the details too much, but thank you for making the scan and thank you for making the copies. I was actually trying to bring it to the museum for them to look at it, but you know how North American museums are. Unless you bring them an artifact that fits within their established timeline, they won't even look at it. So I actually got a few of the people at the museum to look at it, like off the books. And they're like, holy fuck, we should really investigate this thing. But same thing, like as soon as you tell them on the books, like on the record, they'll never admit to thinking it could be real. Yeah, so that's how this demonic amulet works. When I first got it, it was given to me by my aunt, and yeah, she was like saying be careful, there's like a whole bunch of cursed stuff about it. If you don't even store it properly, the demonic activity in your house will get really bad. And actually the night when the amulet was coming that week, or yeah, the night before it arrived, I just had a horrible nightmare, that one about demons for the first time. Where I started to dream that I'm at my house and everyone in the house is crying. I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, the demon's coming. I'm like, well, if there's a demon coming, why the hell can't we just leave the house? They're like, we can't, we have to stay here. I'm like, well, fuck, there's a demon coming, why are we staying? And they're like, we have no choice, we have to stay. I'm like, okay, so when does the demon arrive? And everyone's like, we don't know, it could be any minute. I'm like, holy fuck, it's such a weird dream. You know, the only other time I get that dream is when other demons are like in the area. So I'm pretty sure the amulet's at least able to keep most of them at bay. The only other time I heard demons talk about the amulet is there was this one kid who was like getting bullied in school a lot. And he started getting into demonic summoning to try to get some powers to help defend himself from the bullies. And it worked. He summoned a demon, and the demon got rid of the bullies for him. And so someone in my family was skeptical that this kid could actually have a demon protecting him. So the kid was basically just telling her, he's like, hey, if you don't believe in the demon, I can actually just prove it to you. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? You can't prove that demons are real. So he's like, yeah, demons actually control the dream realm. So he's like, if I want, I can get my demon to come and visit you at night, and he'll say hi to you in your dreams to prove that he's real. So yeah, she went to sleep and she had the dream that the demon was there in her dreams that same night. And she was kind of freaked out, but at the same time she didn't believe it, because she's like, wait a minute, I could have just like thought of that. Maybe it really wasn't the demon because I was just talking about it. But everyone else in her household didn't know about the demon and everything. And in her dream, the demon came, grabbed every person from her family, put them in one room, and then started threatening them. So, and then the other thing the demon was saying was like that he couldn't attack them, but he would if he could. So what happened was that person woke up and she went to eat breakfast with her family the next day, and everyone at the the breakfast tables, like, did you guys have a horrible nightmare about demons last night? And every person in the family had the same nightmare at the same time, which is kind of fucked up, right? So anyways, the kid with the demon, he came back the next day. He's like, so my demon said that he came and visited your family last night. What'd you think about it? She's like, holy fuck, man, I actually believe you now, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, the demon has a message for you. And she's like, a message? What? He was already like threatening us and everything. He's like, yeah, the reason that he can't attack you is because of that amulet. He says that amulet actually is a stronger demon than him, and he can't trump its power. So he has to stand back and let that other demon do what it wants. So I was like, holy fuck, man, that's pretty fucked up. So yeah, I never used to believe in demons until my family started telling me that they've had encounters with them, and until I met Buzz Aldrin and Mike Tyson. Both of those guys have really bad demons attached to them as well. I'm not sure why. I think Mike Tyson probably because of that whole fighting history. Like somewhere along the way, I think Mike Tyson was getting bullied in Brownsville and he summoned the demons. Or the demons just possessed him because they found him in a weakened state, took over control of his body and helped him win the heavyweight championship. I know it's a fucked up theory, but when I saw Mike Tyson, the hair on all my body just stood on end, even the little hairs on my head. So it freaked the shit out of me. I'm like, oh my god, Mike Tyson has a fucking demon. I know, like, Muhammad, he probably knows all about it, because, like, I think demons are a little bit in the Muslim religion, they warn about it too. I know Santeria, they warn about demons, how they can, like, ride you like a horse. It's kind of sick, but yeah, so not to recommend demonic amulets to anyone, but if you want to win one, tune into the show. Yeah, that's what I'll probably do. When we do the prize giveaway, I'll offer people a choice of a video game or the demonic amulet. And the demonic amulet actually cost me about 40 bucks for each one that got made. That's like the $2,000 divided by how many amulets I got. And I can give you the instructions on how to store it properly and to make sure that your house doesn't get too possessed. But you definitely probably don't want to screw around with demonic stuff. Just take the video game instead. And don't say I didn't warn you. That's what I'm thinking, like demons in this video game are pretty common too, right? We got a few demonic characters. The jinn. I know who was it, Muhammad was saying that the jinn aren't always evil. Sometimes in his religion or the Abrahamic tradition, that genie can be good or evil. And that's actually something I found in Hindu text as well. Hindu text says that sometimes the demons can be good or evil. So we can't really just look at someone because they're a demon and say that they're always going to be evil. I know, as weird as that sounds. Oh yeah, and then Buzz Aldrin. Yeah, he's badly demonic possessed as well. I think that's why he's lived so long. I'm pretty sure when you have a demon attached to you, it can keep you alive indefinitely, depending on how long it wants to use you for. If anyone's heard of the Crystal Skull mysteries before, I should go grab that. Yeah, remember we used to have a viewer, I can't remember his name, but he had a skull for an avatar, and he used to always tune in every time I showed the Crystal Skull. It's not actually the Crystal Skull, it's just Dan Aykroyd. He made a vodka bottle the same shape as the Crystal Skull. So there was the lady that actually had the real Crystal Skull that this one's based on. And she lived just like a few blocks from my house because she lived in the same city as me while she was keeping the Crystal Skull. Apparently they found it in South America and they brought it back to Canada. That's where it stayed for most of its life. Well anyways, the demonic Crystal Skull, it apparently had a demon that was keeping the lady alive. And guess what it did? It promised, like, it could communicate with her telepathically, and it promised to keep her alive until she turned 100. And guess how long the lady lived? She died on her 100th birthday. So that was the weird fucked up part, is she kept telling everyone the skull was going to keep her alive until she was 100, and she literally died on her 100th birthday. Now, some other people might argue that there was like some poisoning or something bad that happened because she was actually married to a much younger man whose main intention for marrying her was to get his hands on the skull so that after she died he could take it. But I've actually talked to people who said the guy was actually a really nice guy, so there's a chance that he just didn't marry her for that. I don't know. It sounds a little bit suspicious because, I don't know, not to make fun of it, but there's not a lot of guys that'll marry like a 90-year-old woman, right? Especially if they're not 90 also. Well, who knows? Maybe he really did love her. I shouldn't be bashing him. I know we've got mutual friends, so I'll probably hear about it if I make fun of him too much. So yeah, I don't know, like there's definitely some weird shit with demonic powers. They can keep you alive, they can make you super strong, they can teach you a lot of information, sort of like the information the Freemasons get. Not to say that every Freemason is demonically possessed, but it's probably one or two. God, man, this freaking Bifel guy just never dies, right? Should we skip it? But if I do, our team will just die. So what I should do is I'll let it run the 50 battles, and we'll just quickly get our other messages done. Excuse me. Alright, thanks everyone at Patreon. Suki, Dan, Jim, Ray, and Travis. Everyone at Patreon, really appreciate it. Oh, Bifel's almost dead. We had him down to one hit. What's the other shit? But yeah, the affiliate links. Patreon. Finishing, oh yeah, we did that. Society 6, finishing quick is my specialty. Comes on t-shirts and bed sheets, both popular with the ladies. I should check if anyone's ever ordered one of those. I don't think I've checked since the day I started the store. I thought of it as kind of a joke, but who knows, maybe someone did. Alright, Hideout TV, it'll pay you to watch videos. Swagbucks will pay you to shop, GameKit will pay you to try games, and free Bitcoin. It's a wallet system for crypto. And just remember, there's also BetFury, so whatever cryptocurrency you're into, you can open free loot boxes on either of these wallet systems and start putting in the money from the loot box without even depositing. And they also have casinos, so you can try to gamble it and make it increase even faster. But you know how that works 90% of the time, you just lose. So that's why I stayed the hell away from the casino. And I just open the free loot boxes and keep piling it in my wallet. I think my wallet has around $200 to $300 US in it, just from what I've gotten from the referrals and opening the loot boxes. So thanks everyone who's been helping with that. Oh yeah, and if you want, add all these to your stores, or not to your stores, to your websites and stuff, if you're allowed to. And then you can start getting referrals for it too. Man, do they ever make doing streaming more fun. Because that way, even if you don't have the 1,000 subs, you can already start getting money booting for your channel. It's pretty sweet. Oh yeah, speaking of sweet, the virtual maid sex machine is for adults and men only, but if ladies need a sex machine, they know who to call. No, I am working out, trying to get back into better shape. What did I reach today? Let's check. I started off this month at 222, so that was borderline death from obesity. So we're doing better. We made it to 195. So over the course of a month, we've roughly lost, I don't know, how many pounds is that? Fuck, is that almost 30 pounds? Dear God. No, I think it's around 26, but still, that's quite a bit. Oh yeah, and the virtual maid sex machine, it's got a coupon code for 10 bucks off on a purchase of 150 or more. Just put in the letters lying BS. That's LYNBSN. And it's not lying bullshit. It actually is a coupon code which will get you the discount, and it helps me out with referral stuff too. So thanks everyone for that. Oh yeah, I got my website. If anyone wants to hear more history about my paranormal stuff, including the Anubis amulet, it's all on my website, so you can check it out as well. And I will be doing full paranormal show guests soon. They usually get demonetized. I don't know why, but for some reason YouTube doesn't like paranormal stuff. Alright, so we're back to the game. Now, I always thought YouTube wouldn't hate paranormal stuff because a lot of times that's like their biggest market. So why would the fuck they be hating on it? But I don't know. I guess it's bad for ad revenue or for sponsors. They don't like it. I don't know. Something to do with that. Alright, let's switch this up. Get more attackers in here, right? Let's try that. Hey, we could even switch it to him so that when he gets hit every time he's poisoned. Alright, let's try this. Yeah, for me, that's why every time I get really too heavily into the demon stuff, either getting attacked by the men in black or too many amulet shit going on, I really do like grab my cross with Jesus on it, and for some reason it works really good. So I don't know if it's like Jesus actually has powers, or maybe it's just your own belief, whatever you believe in. If you have a cross, well, I guess you wouldn't have a cross with Muhammad on it, but whatever. Oh yeah, you can't even look at Muhammad. I always forget that. So, all right, well, whatever you have for Islam that you keep holy, or whatever you have for Judaism, whatever it is, like your own holy relics, I find that works good against demons. I think of what it is, like even Christianity talks about it, people's belief is so powerful that we underestimate it. Like literally what we believe can become true. Even just true to us, right? So you got to really watch what you believe. If you believe demons are going to ruin your life, then yeah, you better be careful, because your belief might actually turn true. That's why I always try to believe that there is an afterlife, because I'm like, fuck man, if belief is that powerful, we could actually go to the afterlife just depending if we believe it or not. Why the fuck can't you just take the chance on believing, right? What's the point in believing that there is no afterlife? That's kind of like a lose-lose situation, right? Because that way, if your belief is true and you believe that there is nothing, then you will cease to exist. That would really be shitty, unless people are sick of existence altogether. Oh boy. Yeah, getting too spiritual today. God, I didn't even get into the weed. Usually it's the weed that makes me talk this way. I swear, it's all the weed's fault. That's what I hate about quitting weed. Fuck, I can't blame it for everything anymore. It's always nice to have something you can blame your problems on. It's like, oh, it wasn't my fault. It was all that. It had nothing to do about what I did. Oh yeah, and if anyone's wondering the big news, what happened after I did those human sacrifice shows on Facebook? My fucking Facebook account went into lockdown like you would not believe. I don't know, I should check, see if I got the image for it. Like, you know how sometimes people are like, oh, Facebook contacted me and they want me to verify my identity so that I can still keep using my account. Guess what Facebook did to me? It's like a fucking whole level above that. Alright, where is it? Oh yes, we got our hands on the gold chest. Oh, I can hardly wait till I get my hands on some chest. That's how I'm thinking. As much as I don't have time for dating, God, I gotta date more. I love getting my hands on chest. Now, if the ladies are wondering, my chest is actually getting into better shape as well. If you want to get your hands on it. Now, I found a really good push-up routine that I got from, what is it, Athlete X. Oh God, is he ever a good personal trainer. I even had Olympic athletes that were my personal trainer for a while, and their advice was nothing compared to Athlete X. Like that Jeff guy from Athlete X, he like revolutionized my workout routine. I can literally work out like 5 minutes a day and get a better workout than I used to do like the Olympic athlete workouts for 2 hours a day. It's so fucked up. Yeah, so I'll try to do a video on that and share some of the secrets that, or his training styles that Jeff shares. Fuck man, they can re-sculpt your chest like you would not believe. Like if you're ever getting the man boob issues, Jeff can fix that like a week, not even. It doesn't even matter, like my man boobs were out of control, and I did this routine of Jeff, and holy fuck man, my pecs went from like blubber to like pure muscle in like a week. Couldn't even believe it. I was like, holy fuck, how is this possible? Years and years of doing other push-ups just didn't work. Alright, let's show what YouTube did to my account for sharing too much information. Or it could just be in general. Sometimes I don't want to get carried away with that, because I bet maybe it just happened for no reason, and I'm starting to apply like reasoning to it that's just completely false. So who knows, maybe the show's exposing the source of demonic energy and human sacrifice had nothing to do with this. But check out what they did. Alright, so you know how you have to confirm your identity with Facebook sometimes? Look what they made me confirm. Like, I had to confirm my country or region. So you have to enter in your city and then put an app on your phone that'll track everywhere you go in real time. So I'm like, holy fuck, I don't even have to like just confirm my identity. Now I have to confirm where I live and let them track me 24 hours a day, or I'm not allowed to use my Facebook account. That's fucked up, right? Like, I don't know, has anyone else gotten this shit from Facebook? It is brutal. So you know what's the weirdest part of this? When it came down to verifying my location, they want me to post my physical actual address on Facebook for a whole world to see, or I'm not allowed to use my account. I'm like, what the fuck, right? Like, what happened to some privacy? Like, I could understand if they wanted me to post where, like, what city I live in. Okay, that's a little weird, but I'll post it. But they actually want me to post my physical address. I'm like, you sons of bitches, right? So what I did is I updated it, got the app on my phone so they can track everywhere I go. And I put my physical address, and I was like, wait a minute. I can't, because I'm staying at my mom's place and I don't want her to get robbed because of where I live, right? So I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to put like one of my neighbors that lives like a few blocks from here, and hopefully that'll be enough to convince Facebook that I'm at least in the general area where I said I was. But man, that is fucked, eh? Like, I can't believe that. They want me to post my physical address to everyone on Facebook, or I can't use my account. And a tracking fucking software to boot. Like, that's pretty extreme. Like, I've heard of extreme measures to use Facebook, but that was like above and beyond anything I've ever heard. And not to say that it's to do with all this demonic sacrifice information that I've started to share, but it does seem weird to me that I had no problems with my accounts for years, like even a decade, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I start posting the information about demons and human sacrifice, all of a sudden now my fucking account's like so strict. It's fucked up. No, if any of the babes are wondering where I live, hey, you can just message me. You don't have to look it up on Facebook, and don't bug my neighbor that I posted. It's not my actual neighbor, but they're a few blocks away. And I live right close to downtown, so that's how I was figuring, like, hey, if people come downtown, it's still going to be hard to find where I live, to some degree. Because, yeah, I'm in a giant downtown of, like, a metropolitan city, so even if you narrow it down within a few blocks, it's still pretty hard to find. Yeah, so anyone who's got a Facebook account, just beware of that, man. They've got some really draconian fucking weird processes that if you start posting some weird shit, man, they fucking come after you like hardcore. Or it could just be unrelated. No, and if they message me back and say that, hey, you gave us one of your neighbors like down the street a few blocks, like, give us your actual address and post it for everyone to see, I'll be like, fuck that shit, man. You know, I feel bad. I think the business or the address I gave was just a business. So if people go to it, it shouldn't be that bad because it's already a business that's open to the public, so they don't mind sharing their address. I was thinking what I was going to do is give them Google's address, because Google actually is just a few blocks down the street from my house as well. Wouldn't it be funny? Give them it, and they're like, hey, that's not your address. That's our address. Or I guess Facebook and Google aren't teamed up. That's YouTube and Facebook. Or no, YouTube and... yeah, YouTube and Google. That's it. Oh, Wagcar with 9 stars. Augusto says his normal attacks can no longer be dodged. That'd be cool. And what is 9 stars again? Is that 1 red star? Or is that 2 red stars? If you refer it to 9 stars, that'll help narrow it down for me, or red stars. Because I always get confused with the 8, 9 star shit. I know it's not that much math to figure out, but forgive me, I'm a little slow. Yeah, that's what I did today too. I haven't shared with people the pretty much the trauma that everyone at, at the stream on Clone Evolution has helped get me through. I remember when I first had this accident and I started doing Clone Evolution shows, my memory was so bad. So I appreciate everyone for sticking with me until I somewhat recovered. And just to give an idea of how bad my injury was, not to like show it off or anything. Sometimes hot babes. No, this is what I went through. This picture here was as close to the actual accident, but this was actually like a week of already healing. So I really should have took a picture sooner. And you can see like the giant cut in my head. When I got my head cracked open with the crowbar, you could see right down to the skull, and it was like ripped open like a giant cut. So thank God the guy that did the stitches, he did a really good job. Like, I barely even have a noticeable scar. Most people that see me would be like, what? You had a scar? Can't even tell. So thank God. I shouldn't make fun of Canadian healthcare. They did one hell of a job stitching it up. But you can see what happened to my eyes. After the swelling from the accident, my eyes swelled up so big that I actually went blind for a few days. Like, I could only see about 10% of my vision, so everything was super blurry. And not to make fun of it, but actually like pulling my eyes sideways to like squint them was the only way I could even make out where I was walking. Because I was like, for some reason when I pulled my eyes sideways, it would sort of clear it up a little so I could make out where I was walking. And yeah, you can see like the swelling like pretty much covered over all my eyes. And this is like a week after already healing, right? So it was way worse than this. And then eventually, like, I think it was about 2 to 3 weeks later, I started to get the bruising. So for me, I'm strange where when I get a bruise, it doesn't show up for like 2 or 3 weeks later. I don't know why that is. But yeah, then all of a sudden my eyes bruised up. At least some of the swelling went down after I took some ibuprofen. And I had like a giant lump where my skull was cracked. So it took a long time for that skull crack to heal. I think it was just a couple months ago that it actually finished healing. Because every time I would touch my skull, I could feel the crack clicking. You know, like you crack your knuckles and you can feel it pop. Anywhere I touched my skull, I could feel it cracking. So yeah, it was a bad skull crack. And you know what happened with Canadian healthcare? I wasn't even given an x-ray. So here I had a fucking cracked skull, never even got an x-ray. And then it was funny, when I went into the rehab, they're like, what? You didn't even get an x-ray? I'm like, yeah, I begged them for one. They said, oh, in Canada, you can beg for healthcare. They say, no, you're fucked. You can't even pay to get one if you wanted. Yeah, so then eventually the cut started to heal a few weeks later. I think this was like a month or two later, where I still had like this giant like Harry Potter scar. So yeah, if anyone's wondering why it took so long for my rehab to like get to the point where I could start remembering shit almost like a normal person again. Yeah, it was fucking a hell of an injury. And at least I can look back at these pictures without breaking down. Because for the longest time, every time I saw these pictures, I would just break down to tears. It would bring back the memories of the fucking accident. No, not to use the victimhood, but yeah, man, everyone turned their back on me. Canadian healthcare, my boss, the guy that I got injured on his property, and told him that I wouldn't tell the cops or everywhere that all the bad shit that was happening on his property that led to the accident. He made off scot-free selling his property for millions, and he didn't give me a dime. And I fucking saved his ass. He could be in jail right now if I would have ratted him out for the fucking accident. But yeah, I'll just keep it to myself and not say anything. That's one of the things like where that's kind of in my moral code is I won't sue people. So yeah, I really should have sued some people for that fucking work accident, but hey, I'm still kicking and I managed to recover, and it took like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, but hey, at least thanks to the help of the viewers, really appreciate it. You guys and ladies were some of the people that helped get me through it, even more than my family did. So I really appreciate it. I know I'm definitely not back to 100% normal, but hey, one step at a time, right? At least I can remember some shit now. Yeah, it took me a while before I could even write my name again. There was like a whole bunch of shit I had to learn to do from scratch again. I still haven't got my balance back properly. I used to be like a pro rollerblader where I could go off jumps and stuff. I can't even rollerblade to the end of my driveway. My balance is that shot since the accident, but hopefully I'll regain some of the balance eventually. I've been working on it. I don't think I'm going to try regaining it rollerblading style though, because man, I can just get hurt again really bad. No, so if you ever get into a situation in life where you're trying to sue people, suing I don't think is always the greatest answer. As much as it could have made me some money, I think morally I was just like, you know what, I fucked up during that accident too, so I shouldn't like put all the blame on other people. Even though a lot of it did come down to other people asking me to do dangerous shit. And for some reason I listened and I should have just said no. Yeah, so just be careful in life. If you ever get a job that's a little bit dangerous, just remember, government agencies will fuck you, your boss will fuck you, family will fuck you, all the friends. It's amazing how everyone can just turn their back on you at like the drop of a hat, even when you're in that rough a shape. Like I literally almost died and I still had everyone turn their back on me. Oh well. At least I can say I tried to recover on my own, and I have made it a decent amount of recovery. Now, I shouldn't say the government completely turned their back on me. They actually did help me with some free rehab classes. And a lot of the hot babes I met at rehab, yeah, that was actually some fun times. Now, I didn't get any dates out of it, but I really should have asked a few of them out, because a few of them were kind of hinting that they wanted to go out. And I was just in such rough shape from the rehab. I'm like, ladies, look, like, I can barely even fucking talk. I can't even write my name. I really am not in this situation to still start dating. Although it would have been nice. Oh man, the one lady had a fucking sweet ass. And she always wore spandex. I was like, oh man. She was super hot. Alright, anyways, let's get her mind out of the gutter. I don't think I'm going to beat this level, right? Like, look how many red stars and 2 stars we're against. This is a losing cause. We'll try this and see if it makes a difference, but I don't think it will. Yeah, we'll try this, too. Excuse me. Now, it was kind of funny when the whole accident happened. There was actually one bright side to it, is that mistakenly fallen in love with a woman who didn't feel the same way. So when she left, and I got really fucking depressed, like a broken heart, worse than I ever imagined possible. And that feeling actually didn't go away until I got in the accident. Man, as soon as I got into the accident, I could barely remember being like having a broken heart. So it actually got me out of that situation. Luckily. So there was a bright side to the whole thing. If you can look at a bright side about getting your head cracked open with a crowbar. No, the whole accident was stupid, man. Like, I was like using a machine that had a crowbar for a handle, and I fucking just kept turning the handle to make it tighter and tighter and tighter. And then what happened was it was wet on the ground and I fucking slipped. And as soon as I let go of that handle, the machine spun the crowbar back at like, I don't know, 300-400 miles an hour, and then just cracked me over the skull. And it actually almost broke my neck from the impact too. My neck still hasn't even healed properly. But yeah, luckily it's like, I think I was very lucky that my neck absorbed some of the blow. So that way, even though I like broke my neck, cracked my skull, at least I survived. It was actually kind of a miracle too, because after when I thought about it, I was like, if that same accident happened to anyone else, I can almost guarantee they would have been dead instantly. Because I'm fucking like a 6'2", like 200 pounds, super strong guy. So when it hit me, I was like at least like very durable. But if it hit someone who like weighed 150 pounds, their head would have just exploded like a watermelon. So yeah, I was very, very fortunate that at least I was big and trained like hell and somewhat took the impact enough to survive. No, even like the physio people, when I told them about the accident, they're like, no way. If that really happened to you, you would have never survived. I'm like, trust me guys, I'm not making it up, I'm not suing anyone, but still no one would believe me. Because no one watched the accident except for me. I was alone when it happened. It was actually my boss who found me in a pool of blood on the ground, and then he's like, holy shit, what happened, right? like, just like get me to the hospital. Yeah, what a day that was too. It was like a Friday. I was like just saved up enough money. I just finished like years to get a mortgage. Saved up all the money for the mortgage. Only had a week to go until I could get my own house. And then the fucking accident happened on a Friday, like the last few minutes of a shift. Well, you know what the other thing, a story someone told me, same thing happened to another guy where it's same thing. It's like it was a Friday, only a few minutes left of his shift. And then what happened was he tried to clean out one of the machines too quick because he was like trying to finish for the weekend. And he got his arm pulled into the machine and it ripped his arm off. So luckily they got him to the hospital and reattached his arm, but he never got full use of it back. It's sort of like just like a vegetable arm that doesn't really do anything. But thank God he survived. Like, I think how many people make that mistake just trying to finish the shift early. You just start thinking about the weekend. You're like, oh, right, it's almost a weekend. I can start like rushing to get out of work faster. Fuck, man, poor guy. Can you imagine the trauma of getting your arm ripped off in a machine? Like, if I had to trade and get my skull cracked open or the arm ripped off, I think the skull cracked open was slightly not as bad. Although he probably didn't have the same like rehab as me for mental rehab. All of his rehab was at least physical and traumatic rehab too. Yeah, I hope the government insurance agencies help that guy. I was surprised how quickly the government agencies would turn on you. Like here was like, oh, the government, they help people. That's why I really doubt when this is being helping anything. Because man, the government has fucked me over so many times that why the hell would I believe that they're doing anything to help me? If anything, they've just fucked me over and over and over and over. So it's like, man, why the fuck would I believe them? Actually, next time they ask me like why I'm not getting this, I'm actually going to use that as the reason. I'll be like, I have post-traumatic stress, guys. Sorry, I can't trust a fucking word the government says to me. Why? Because they've almost killed me multiple times. All to make money, too. So I was like, God, if the government's willing to kill me to make money, why the fuck would I trust this, right? I know it's a bad thing to say. Everyone has to agree with the World Health Organization, so I definitely agree with everything they say. Just like in World War II, you had to agree with everything the Nazis said or you'd get killed or lose all your livelihood. So we're literally in the exact same situation. I have to agree with everything they say, just like the fucking what the Nazis were doing to people. I couldn't believe that when I looked into World War II history and I started to see what's happening in Canada. I'm like, fuck, man, it's like a page right out of that. I know we haven't put people in the gas chambers yet, thank God. Yet. I shouldn't joke about it, it's horrible, but I laugh to relieve stress. Alright, so I think we're at the 2-hour mark for the show. Holy fuck, we are. Man, this isn't going well, so I'm going to reset and try to beat it differently. But before we do, let's get a quick message from the sponsor.
Today's UFO stories were brought to you by Crunk. Crunk. It'll fuck you up. Alright, let's try one more time to beat this. Can we do it? Holy fuck, we're not even on the... I thought we were on the gold chest battle. We're not even close. I don't get it. Why is Sea King so weak, eh? Every time I bring him into the battle, he just does jack shit. Yeah, let's try this. Yeah, so I hope I didn't freak out all the viewers. I know everyone's left except one. Appreciate some people staying for the show. And the game has crashed. So I guess we'll have to wrap it up. Let's go to the fire screen. Tomorrow's episode, we'll try to do some more stuff, but I gotta work really late tomorrow, so chances are I won't be able to record. But I'll try my best. Alright, thanks again everyone for watching. If you happen to get any fragments from a UFO in your vaporizer, or a black helicopter, and it tastes like shit, give the show a dislike. But if it doesn't happen, you can help with a like. Really appreciate it. And dear God, I really gotta trim my beard better. I just got out of the shower and I didn't really comb it. I'm like, holy fuck. Man, that's like huge mess. Yeah, so sorry everyone. I'll try to get cleaned up a bit more next episode. Now, if you happen to get any of those your vaporizer, it tastes like shit, give the show a dislike. But if it doesn't happen, you can give it a like. Really appreciate it. And just make sure, never buy the products from my sponsor. I'm still doing the baby voice. Sorry. Because it will ruin your life. Bye for now, everyone.
You know what happens when you have 2 beers? Ruins your life. Alright, see you later. At least I can blame the beer for my screw up. Alright, take care everyone. Bye for now. Have a good one. Later. Oh yeah, and happy Oktoberfest. And I forgot to give the viewers a shout out. Let's give it to them. Augusto, Mohammed, Alec McQueen, and everyone else who is watching but didn't join the chat. And don't be shy, ladies and guys. I don't care if everyone can't take part in the chat, but don't worry. I won't hold it against you if you do. Or don't. See you later. Bye for now. Later. Yeah, thanks, Augusto. I'll have to check out this WAG car guy. I don't even know who that is. I'll have to check it out. But I appreciate the tips. Later.